Hey creative crowd, how are you doing? We are again in Affinity Designer and I want to try a new concept where I learn from other creators on the internet. So I downloaded this picture from freepik.com. I will also link it in my video description and we will recreate in this tutorial this artwork. So you can see how it's done, what the artist is doing, and getting inspiration from other artists is always a great way to learn. My name is Olivio. I'm a professional designer from Vienna, Austria, and I want to thank all of my patrons who support me and make these videos possible. That's super important. Thank you for that. Let's get started. Okay, so I just copied the JPEG in here and we can you can see everything here is done with simple shapes. So this is really a very nice beginner's tutorial. And I will not 100% recreate it, but I will be inspired by that and learn from the art style. So let's start with the ice cream here on the right. And let's see from the size, that should be okay. Let's rotate it a little bit to see, maybe make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And for the start, I'm going to rotate that back to 90 degrees so it's easier to work with that. And I will now duplicate this. So right click and duplicate and right click and duplicate. There's also shortcuts for that, but it's better if you see what I'm doing. And then the next thing I'm doing is that I'm going to move this shape over a little bit. And maybe even, should I stretch it out a little bit? Actually, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna select the upper shape and the one below that, and I click up here, it says subtract. So the upper is going to be distracted from the lower shape, subtracted, not distracted, sorry. So we only have this outline left, and now I can go to the lower shape, and I will color pick the brighter color for that. And click on my color picked color and you can see now it's here and we have the ice cream and we have this kind of shadow on the side of that. So now we need to create these three stripes. For that I'm gonna use again my rounded rectangle tool and I will draw out a shape in here. And then what I'm gonna do is up here where it says corner, you can see that it says 25%. We will push that to 50% and this will give us very nice completely round corners. So it's like a very long pill basically. Okay, let's color pick again over here. This might be the same color as the shadow and we will, with holding control and then click and drag, we will copy this 2 times. And then I'm going to select all 3 layers. And I'm going to go up here to alignment and you can see here is a button for space horizontally. So let's click on that and you can see this will automatically put them in the same spacing next to each other. Now we can move it over a little bit so it's more in the center. We don't want to have it in the center of the object. Maybe I use my arrow keys for that. We wanted to have it roughly in the center of the ice cream. So you can see we are making pretty fast progress here. It's a very nice, easy project and very good to learn from that. So I select all the layers and group that and I will call that body 1. So we know what's going on. So let's go now maybe for the face. So here you can see we just have a circle. And let's make that circle and then zoom in. I will move the circle over here so we have a better idea what's going on. And you can see we have 2 more circles in there. So let's create, and you can hold the shift key to make a really round circle. So let's create 2 more circles and I will make them white. Let's click here, select white as the color, go to the other circle, make that also white as a color. And then for the last circle, the biggest one, I will color pick again from the original artwork. There we go. Maybe make this one here a little bit bigger. And I will group all of them. So select all of the layers and then Control-G to group them. And rotate that a little bit. Maybe I go in here and make the one of them a little bit bigger still. Let's go like this. There we go. Okay, I think that's close enough. So we can now go over to our ice cream. Whoops, that's the wrong direction, sorry. There we go. Move this over. It's a lot smaller in the other artwork. Maybe like that. Okay, and then Control and drag to copy that again. And now we are going to also make the mouth. For that, I'm gonna go and click here on Shapes, and then I'm gonna select the Segment tool, and we can just drag out the mouth like that. If we want to, I will turn this upside down, so you can see, and we have these orange points here, and that means that we can adjust certain parts of that, although those are not actually the parts that we need to adjust. So right click on that and then convert to curves. And now that we have curves, we can go in here and, for example, bend this line down and over a little bit, and take the lower point here and move that over a little bit like that. Maybe move this a little bit over. So that's okay, that's good. And then I'm just going to create another circle like this. I'm gonna color pick for the tongue color, click, so it's applied here. And then over in the layers, first of all, I'm gonna move this up here a little bit, and then over where the layers are, I'm gonna drag this onto my mouth curve. So it's cut by the mouth curve, that's important. And by the way, you can see here that we have a little line, outline here. We don't want that. So select the shape, and up here you can see for the two colors, one is a ring, the other one is a circle. Click on the ring and then click on the white with the red line through that. So this will remove the outline. I will do the same thing for the tongue. And now we shouldn't have any outlines anymore. There we go. Okay. Let's move this over here, actually, onto the other mouth. So maybe we have a bit of a more closer representation of what is going on here. So I will reduce the opacity. This helps a lot with seeing what is going on in the back. I will resize that a little bit. There we go. And then I can go back into my curve tool and help the curves a little bit to be applied in a way that I actually want it to be. Like that looks good. I will move this up here a little bit and then also use our ellipse, move that over a little bit, and now we should be super close to the original. Move it back up to 100% and zoom out. Whoops, I'm missing my keys here, sorry. There we go. So now that we have the mouth over here, we can just move that here. There we go. Of course, this is in the wrong rotation because our shape is vertically in the design that we have. We will rotate it in a second. It's just a little bit easier when you do it like this and then rotate it afterwards. You don't have to think about the rotation all the time. Okay, let's create the chocolate up here and then also the wood bar down there. So for the chocolate, I would suggest that we first of all again use our rounded corner tool to make the cap up here, like so. Move that up a little bit. Can move this here probably. You can see here there's recent colors, so I can click on this and this should actually change it to the chocolate color. Oh, I'm on the line, sorry. You have to be sure you're on the fill color, not on the line color. So there we go. Oh, that's actually different color. Okay, that's interesting. So let's pick this other brown. And you can see that in the original, we have these kind of molten lines down here. So to create that, what we are going to do is we're going to take our pencil tool and then just draw out some of that molten chocolate. Let's see. Go down here. I don't know why I can't see the line at the moment. Okay, and we have now in 1.7 our sculpt tool, so we can click on the sculpt tool and fix that a little bit. Let's see, I want to make a color for my lines so you can actually see the lines. It is a lot more helpful now. Let's move like this. There we go. And maybe have this with a nice big drop down here. And bring this over like here, like so. No, that's not too good. Let's see. Okay, a little bit concentration here. Okay, good. So I will move this part here over. So I close this. And now I can also fill it with color like that. And I want to move both of them up a little bit like that. All right. And now I can click up here to combine them like this. So now it's one shape. So this is very helpful to us. And again, we have to create, you can see here, there are some darker parts in here that we now want to create. So again, I'm going to use, should I use my pen tool for that? Let's consider this for a second. What's the easiest way to do that? Let's duplicate this and see if we could just move this over. That looks actually pretty good. So I think we can work like that. Okay, so I will move that back and then duplicate it again. And then move this over a bit. Up a bit. Let's see. Like that should be okay. So I will now select the two upper ones, upper layers, subtract that. So we only have left these layers. And let's now color pick so we can select the darker color down here. There we go. So now we have that. You can see we need a little bit more adjustment in here, but we can easily do that by simply using our node tool. Let's see what's the original. So we go in here and we're gonna move this around a little bit so it's more like the shadow that it should be. I want to bend this line down here a little bit. Bring this over. Bring this over, bend the line down a little bit, maybe bring this up here a bit. So that works really nicely at the moment. I want to bring this over a little bit and that. Okay. This down here could move over probably a little bit. Move that up a bunch, like that. Okay. Okay, maybe here we need some more adjustments. Yeah, we're almost done. So that's kind of okay. Good. Let's make a nice round shape here. Click on that one, bring this over like that. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. Let's zoom out. So we have this nice top now. It looks, of course, different than the original, so that's a given. But like I said, it's more like an inspiration and not like a straight copy of the work that the other artist has done with that. So for these kind of nut parts here, I guess, is what they are. Let's take our ellipse tool for that. And again, let's color pick the color here. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate this twice as we have done before. We can, by the way, use Control-G for that. So maybe in this case, that's a little bit faster. Let's zoom in here and move this over a little bit like that, over and up. And again, subtract that and color pick from the other artwork on that shape here. There we go. Okay, so now we can group that and we can move this over here. Maybe I should have taken a little bit more shadow. So let's zoom in here again and redo this last step real quick, because this seems like it's not enough shadow to really stand out when we are a little bit further away, zoomed out. So let's do it like this. It's a bit extreme, but I think that could be a lot more interesting to look at. So let's use this color here again, combine them with Control-G, and now we can spread them out over the head of our ice cream. There we go. I can just copy this and resize it and put it in different positions on the head, like that. Stretch it a little bit so it looks a bit different from shape to shape. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom out a little bit and see what's happening over here. There we go. Let's move this up here. Rotate that a little bit bigger. Whoops, not too much. There we have some. Oh, I just copied the one thing. That's not good. Okay. Good. You can see we are getting there. All right, maybe one more up here. What else do we need? One more up here, maybe. This one could be a little bit more over here. There's one down there. And then we have some in the shadow, and those don't have the shadow part in the middle. So we can delete that and recolor the whole thing. Actually, it doesn't have to be a group in that case. So let's delete that and give it the shadow color. And I need to bring it in front actually a little bit, because now it's behind our chocolate shadow, which is not good. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Have to zoom in a little bit more. It's pretty small details here. There we go. Okay, good. So we are getting pretty close to the original. And now I'm going to create our stick down here. So the way we're going to do that again, we're going to take our rounded tool. I think we will make it completely round. I'm not seeing what's happening down there, but I think the classic style would be to have it completely round. So we go like this. And again, we do the same trick. I will duplicate this twice and move it over once, like that. Good. Let's see. Let's go like that. Okay, good. So select the top two layers and subtract. So you can see we have a lot of repetition in the steps because they work the very same way. And we can color pick now the shadow color of our stick. And now that we have this, we need to find a way how we can put this in here. As you can see, wait 1 second. So there we go. Okay, so I think the way we are going to do that is that we are going to create a shape on top of that. Let's go like this. And then I will convert to curves. and I can now zoom in here. And I will now click here and click here. And probably also click here to create additional points and just drag this down. So we can put it basically, I think here should be good. Okay, good. So now we can zoom out again. And I can now, let's see if this works. I'm not sure if this works in Affinity Designer, but now if I click like this, hold Alt, oh, I can't subtract in that case. Okay, so because I can't subtract in that case, what we're going to do is I'm going to put this inside the group and I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to combine it with the other shapes. So I'm putting one of the shapes on top of the stick and then holding my Alt key and clicking subtract, which creates kind of a mask in here from these two shapes. And then I do the same with the one above, with the shadow. So I'm going to select this shape and then the curve for the shadow, hold Alt and click subtract. And you can see now we have this kind of shape as we need it. Oops, I moved just the shadow by accident. There we go. So now we have our stick down here. Okay, so we could now combine everything, group, and call it ice cream 1. Okay, there we go. So when I zoom out now, you can see now we have our ice cream stick here. I can now rotate it in a similar fashion as in the original picture. And of course, my ice cream looks a little bit different. Actually, it's a bit longer. We could fix that actually, because I think it looks a bit cuter when it is shorter. So let's take the face parts and move them down a bit, like here, like so, similar to the original. And then we take the head with all of these nut parts here. We can actually combine this into a group and call it head. There we go. And then we click on the one above that and call it stick. There we go. And now I can take the head and move that a little bit down until here. It's still a little bit longer, but I think that's okay. We could maybe it a little bit smaller. Actually, no. I think it's better if you have a little bit of a bigger head in our case. Okay, cool. So we have created this one stick for our tutorial. And you can see it's super easy and it's very fast, and you learn a lot from recreating these things from other artists. There's a breakdown here, but you can see this is actually sometimes Affinity Designer is showing things in the wrong way. So if you see these breaks, zoom into your design and see if it's actually happening that way or not. I will create the other ice creams, but I will speed it up in time. You have seen the one, now comes the time lapse. If you want to see the full-time video, you can get this as one of my patrons. So let's go into high-speed mode and create the other ice creams.